Alfa Romeo, an Italian car company that has not sold cars in America for quite a while. But if we all put on our imagination caps, we can figure out what a modern day Alfa Romeo would look like. I hope what you're imagining looks something like that. Okay, technically Alfa did sell a minuscule number of extremely expensive 8Cs here a few years back, but Alfa has bigger plans. They'd like to be a mainstream player selling Americans a full range of vehicles, the first of which being the two-seat mid-engine Alfa Romeo 4C. Imported straight from Modena, Italy, the 4C's carbon fiber monocoque, aluminum front and rear structures, light SMC body panels, and thin glass help it tip the scales at a mere 2,465 pounds. Propelling this minimal mass around is an all-aluminum 1,742cc turbocharged four-cylinder engine also found in the European Alfa Romeo Giulietta. Well, first impression when you sit in the 4C is that the seating position is really vertical. You can lean the seat forward inexplicably, but no one would ever drive like this. If you want to lean it back, this is as far as it goes. So your mom will be happy that you're using good posture, but I guess we'll see how comfortable this is over the long haul. Sometimes when you take a car and strip it down to its essentials, it's fun to drive quickly and terrible at all other moments. The Alfa Romeo 4C isn't like that. It takes a little adaptation. Yeah, there's no visibility over the right shoulder, and if you put it in dynamic mode, the throttle will be very, very touchy, and the gear changes will be maybe a little bit overly abrupt. Just stay out of dynamic mode and you can drive around smoothly and calmly like a normal sane person until there's nobody looking, and then you can floor it. Alfa Romeo has smartly paired all the go fast goodies with some bits that make the car stop really quickly. That's nice. Yeah, Brembo brakes, 4-piston calipers up front, 12-inch discs, a lot of stopping power. That'll really come in handy when some idiot pulls out in front of you. Or you're like putting down sweet lap times, I don't know. I'm not sure what your plans are for the 4C. You figure it out. One of the 4C's more unique traits is the complete absence of power assistance for the steering. So at this speed, moving the wheel is really hard. Good luck in the Trader Joe's parking lot. But at a little bit of speed, here we're going 3 miles an hour, and it's nice and easy to turn. And it gets even better as you pick up the pace. The steering feel is pretty incredible. If you've never driven a car without power steering, this will be a joy. One area that traditional sports car enthusiasts are going to hate is the lack of a manual transmission. The only transmission you can get is a twin clutch automatic. Well, it's kind of an automatic. You've got paddle shifters for controlling gear changes up here, and it's a really good transmission. Give it a chance, won't you people? The gear changes are really, really quick and very smooth. In fact, when just driving around town, that's nice. You can't really feel the changes. You can hear them, but you can't really feel them. If you switch up to dynamic mode, then you can feel them. They get almost a little too abrupt. Despite that rawness, the ride isn't terrible. The car doesn't filter out any information. You know where every little road imperfection is, but it doesn't beat you over the head with that information, or more specifically, beat your poor body as you're strapped into the car. When you do floor the throttle pedal, a few things are going to happen. One, a bunch of air is going to get sucked into the engine, and you're going to hear every molecule as it passes you by. Two, as you probably noticed, you'll haul that direction. The Alfa Romeo 4C has 237 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque available for propulsion duties, and it puts that power to use pretty well. It's a light chassis, and the power-to-weight ratio is quite favorable, so it's easy to get going quickly. That guy gave me a sweet peace sign. He must like the look of my car. Utilizing the quote-unquote DNA selector, drivers can alter the 4C's throttle, transmission, and stability programs. N or natural mode is the standard setting, and A is a less aggressive all-weather mode, while dynamic D mode offers hypersensitive throttle response, quicker shifts, and reduced stability control intervention. Hold the DNA selector up for 5 seconds in D mode, and you'll enter race mode. This devil-may-care mode deactivates stability control, so, use it wisely. Race mode also opens access to the 4C's semi-convoluted launch control system. Let's see, left foot brake, apply gas, wait for revs to rise, hold the left paddle once, watch revs rise again, release brake, and you're off, with a surprising amount of wheel spin. Do it right, and you'll hit 60 miles per hour in the mid 4-second range.
Following an initial run of launch edition cars priced around $70,000, you'll be able to buy a base model for about $55,000. That makes the Alfa Romeo 4C about as pricey as a Porsche Cayman, BMW Z4, or Chevy Corvette, but aside from price, the 4C doesn't have much in common with any of them. Modern performance coupes are dual-natured machines. They're willing playthings on the weekends, yet refined commuters during the week. The 4C only has one nature, and that nature is not refined. The interior materials are decent, but not exceedingly luxurious. There's nowhere comfortable to place your arms. You can get rear parking sensors, but you can't get a backup camera. There's no modern infotainment system, nor will there ever be based on the available real estate. Instead, you make do with a head unit featuring a detachable face. Yeah, remember those? Luggage space is a tiny 3.7 cubic feet, and the cover lacks a pneumatic lift. And there's no glove compartment, just a small pouch to store papers or an iPod.
The climate controls have a blocky thing happening, kind of like you'd expect from a Toyota FJ Cruiser. So that feels a little bit out of line with what you expect from the Alfa Romeo 4C, you know, being light and delicate and racy. But make the thing cool. As long as it keeps me cool while I'm driving the car, I guess I shouldn't complain.
Are you sensing a theme here? The consistent message is minimalism. The Alfa Romeo 4C is an elemental car, kind of like a somewhat less militant Lotus Elise. If all this minimalism seems silly on public streets, just take the 4C to a racetrack.
So, how does the Alfa Romeo 4C fare on a racetrack? Let's find out. Okay, so in regular mode, stability control is pretty darn intrusive, so it might be time to switch up to dynamic mode. Let's do that. There we go. Yeah, that feels better. Hard braking. I think I could be braking later. The brakes are excellent. So lessons from the first round out. 1, I can brake a lot later and a lot harder. 2, dynamic mode is definitely the play because you get good punch out of the corners, whereas in natural mode, it definitely wants to hold you back when it comes to horsepower. And I think I can push it harder, though then again, you don't want to be the guy that balls up one of the few thousand or so cars that they're going to import each year. But I should push it harder. Yeah, let's see what happens next round. Ooh, there we go. Real power out of the corners. Dynamic mode saves the day. Dual clutch transmission works really well. It takes one less components to consider when driving on track. So no more concerns about the clutch pedal, which is a little, I don't know, I'm conflicted about it. It's certainly not the most powerful car I've driven on track, but there's a really nice combination of lightweight and enough power and that really direct, unpowered steering that makes it a true joy to drive on the racetrack. That was a lot of fun.
Spend some time driving the Alfa on the track, and it's easier to take a rosier view of things. The 4C might seem small, but it actually offers more head and legroom than the front seats of a Toyota Camry, or at least a Camry with the optional moonroof. Getting in and out isn't nearly as bad as a tiny mid-engine carbon tub performance car could be. The digital gauge cluster looks a little busy, but it does pack a lot of information into a small space. And yeah, the 4C's road manners are a bit blunt, but they're not unbearable. Okay, the Alfa Romeo 4C isn't for everyone. Actually, that's a major understatement. The 4C is a car built for an elite few. Drivers who want to experience motoring free from filters.
The 4C is hyperbolic Italianness. It's pure emotion, both visual and visceral. Yeah, the number of drivers looking for that kind of experience might be dwindling, but with their relaunch in America, Alfa Romeo seems to be willing to bet that we're not gone completely. I'm crying. It's because there's wind in my eyes, not because I'm so emotionally wrecked by this Alfa Romeo 4C. Okay, maybe I am emotionally wrecked by this Alfa Romeo 4C.